Today's episode is sponsored by Astero's cybersecurity services. These days, organizations of all sizes are targets for cyber criminals, disgruntled employees, or even nation-state attackers. Astero's performs cybersecurity services providing expert guidance to help organizations defend against threats and protect their data. Astero specializes in penetration testing, where they perform ethical hacking on networks, web apps, or organizations as a whole to simulate what an attacker would do and plug the discovered holes before anyone malicious finds and exploits them. Asteros also specializes in vulnerability management, security awareness training, phishing simulations, cloud security audits, compliance readiness assessments, and much more. As technology expands, it becomes easier and easier to run a business, but if your security is not growing along with your company, then you're going to run into problems. If you don't personally have a company of your own, definitely pass this information along to someone who does, because for a limited time, Asteros is offering companies an attack surface audit completely free. Let Asteros discover potential entry points to your network and how susceptible your company or organization is to cyber attacks. To learn more and to take advantage of this essential offer, just go to asteros.com/free. That's Asteros, ASTEROS.com/free. We live in a new age, and it's time for us to upgrade our tinfoil hats. Operation Tinfoil is a freedom-focused small business and trusted sponsor of this show. Their super comfortable new line of beanies and baseball caps will not only crown your skull in style, but each of these dome defenders is lined with a silver mesh that blocks up to 99% of EMF radiation from cell phone towers, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and yes, even 5G. We don't know what EMF radiation does to the brain long term, but neither do they, so don't be their guinea pig and don't wait around to find out. Get your stylish tinfoil hat of the future today at gettinfoil.com. Use the promo code SYSTEM for $10 off your order. Again, that's gettinfoil.com. Use the promo code SYSTEM for $10 off your order. Ladies and gentlemen, Pride Month is coming, so the news keeps getting gayer and gayer every day. Welcome to the least comfortable show on the web. It's The System is Down, where we talk about all the uncomfortable topics like conspiracies, politics, religion, and degeneracy at PorcFest. We're going to talk about all those fun things today, and we're going to talk about the degeneracy at the Libertarian Party of Delaware convention. I'm sure there was plenty of that. Anywhere the libertarians go, there is degeneracy. But lots of things are happening in the news, like Ron DeSantis announcing that he's running for president, unofficially or officially, I don't care. We've got, what else? What else do we have here? Oh, the North Face jumped in on the woke Pride marketing, Target's getting boycott, a whole bunch of nonsense, and that has you about caught up on the news for the week, so we're going to talk about other things today. Now, this show is brought to you entirely by yourselves. People in the Downers Club, people like Melanie Roberts, Kimberly Owen, Brian Something, Justin Savoy, Justico Mitchell, Amy Lepore, Lee Ann, Autumn, Danielle, Gid Kid, Alex, Magoo, Break the Bell, Mike Stonehouse, Keith Compston, Level Zero, Vans Up Media, Stefan Somethings, Javari, Trenton Campbell, John Barnhouse, and other people. If you want to get your name on that list and probably have it read incorrectly someday, go on over to patreon.com/The System is Down and sign up for more weird, more raw, more offensive, more weekly content, including the after parties, where we talk about the more fun stuff, even more fun than this. And today we're talking about well, Angela McArdle just went on Vermin Supreme show earlier this week, and he said that she wasn't serious enough for the Libertarian Party. So, just a little teaser there. If you want to hear us rant about how stupid that is, go on over to patreon.com/The System is Down and join the Downers Club today. And I am, as always, joined by the one and only my main fave, Dave. Dave, what's up, Dave?
What it is. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you, man?
All I ask
Proud of our chair.
Nope. Didn't mean to roll that yet. Getting a little
All
ahead
I
of
ask
myself.
is, do not cut me off.
How you doing, Dave? Roll credits. All right.
Yeah. Great story. Thanks. No,
No.
I'm doing great, man. I was ready for the intro. Whatever.
Yeah. Well, in that case, I guess let's save it and let's get weird.
All I ask is, if we have to give these bastards our lives, we give them hell before we do.
The tragedy of our day is the climate of fear in which we live.
Talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing.
would ask the congressman to withdraw that comment and tell us that he didn't really mean that. I don't know what I said. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
The Bible commands that certain people be put to death.
Thieves or possesses weapons of mass destruction. 9/11 attacks were carried out by Al-Qaeda.
Handle the truth.
I remember that with that smoke. We are still here!
We have to say yes to social justice.
No, it's a big club, and you ain't in it.
All right. Now we'll do the real thing. Dave Casey, how the hell are you, my friend?
What it is. I'm doing great, man. Though, I gotta tell you, I'm reading the comments since we got to do that, and La Sombra just said, Dave should have been wearing sunglasses and holding an ice cream cone with that background. The one that we had going in, which was, I don't know how that became the default. It was like Jimmy Fallon and Joe Biden from like 30 or 40 episodes ago. Anyhow, I just thought that was cool. I do like to keep it on brand like that if I could. Any opportunities like that. Right.
Absolutely.
I'm doing good. How are you, bro?
I'm doing great, Dave. I heard that some things went on in Delaware this weekend, and exciting things. You had some people come out and say some things at you in Libertarian and eat some food with you. Let's talk about it. What happened? Give us the breakdown. Give us the Dave Casey recap.
Okay. I'll say this. Like 2/3 of the guys who I would probably support for president under the Libertarian ticket were there. So right off the bat,
Mike Termont. And who was the other one?
gratitude. I didn't even see it coming.
Joe Exotic was there?
No.
Shit.
He was there. Right. No. Oh, we'll talk about the rejects and the mutants at table 9 within the party in a second. No, Maj Toure was there, dude. You know, Delaware's like 30 minutes from his house, so that was easy. And we did a great gun class, you know, in the park in One Love Park, which is right where Bob Marley lived. His mom lived right across the street. And they dedicated this area to him. But that was cool. That was like an hour or two. And of course, you know, when he set up, he's like, so who doesn't know shit? Raise your hand. I was like,
Fuck. All right.
I'm one of those guys.
Yeah.
Drew with the Prius here with my flippy floppies on. Right?
Do you either A, not know shit, or B, are a liar? Which one? You choose.
Right. I'll be, yeah, just got to live truthfully, you know?
Right.
Expect you better off. So that was cool. I learned some stuff, and we did yoga in the morning with our friend Sar, who's a local guy, runs yoga classes. Dude, I'll be honest with you. I think that was my favorite part of the day.
Really?
Like really getting,
So the rest of it was that lame, huh?
Well, okay.
You're like, we peaked at yoga. That's if that gives you any indication how well these people spoke.
I just really really enjoyed it, and the gun class was cool too, and Maj's speech was really great.
Yeah.
And Spike hung out all weekend, and he came to Wheelies on Sunday. That was a really great thing too. I had some nice wild
Spike texted
salmon
me afterwards and said, Spike said that you're a gem or something like that, and he sent me a picture of the salmon you made for him. So he was pretty pleased with you. Well done. Represent.
Thanks, man. We I definitely sat down at his table and we talked about our mutual admiration of you. I said, well, let's start with the common denominator. That's probably Dan Smott's. No, dude, I didn't film shit. I was like, oh damn, I'm definitely bringing the mic, kind of like doing some man on the street stuff or like whatever. I didn't do anything like that.
You suck,
Nothing.
Dave.
I barely took any. I know. I barely took any pictures. So.
We're going to make up for it at PorcFest, though, which we're going to talk about with Dennis in a little bit. But me and Jack are going out to PorcFest, and I got the O'Keefe little mic now too. I've got upped my game on the sound, and Jack's going to be holding the camera. We're going to get a lot of interviews to make up for the shit job that Dave did over the weekend at Delaware.
I'll tell you what, you will have many more opportunities to get much more cool shit at PorcFest.
Sure.
Than you would at the Libertarian Party of Delaware convention. I think I mentioned all the cool shit. Spike Cohen was there. Always awesome. Maj Toure was there. Always awesome. I got to look them both in the eyes and say, hey, guys, I think presidential candidates should be recruited. And I would ask that both of you consider.
So here's a
If you don't,
pamphlet.
It's all good. Right. That's what I did that with Dave Smith last time I saw him. I was like, bro, you don't have to run for president, but, it'd be a lot cooler if you did. Basically. It was like mine. And I got to tell these guys that too. That's my top 3. Other than that, I don't know. I think I'm settling big time if none of these guys throw it in. So I'm just putting it out there that I would definitely feel great about supporting any of those guys. But with that said, Delaware's attendance was down. I hear that this is because of, there's ebb and flow of the presidential years and all this stuff.
Always.
But
Florida seemed a little lesser than I've heard they were in the past too. So it's just kind of an off year.
What else? We got a great chair. Carter Hill was elected chair. He pretty much handles the social media stuff, at least like Facebook, like make sure that there's always good stuff going out. That was always my biggest gripe when the losers were in charge, was just awful messaging. So Delaware's in good hands. That's good news.
Hold on, Dave. You're telling me you didn't even get a Maj Toure interview? That you had one job, one assignment this weekend, and it was to get a Maj Toure interview?
While you're on it, my next episode is 50, number 50. So I sent him an email, I think in February, April, and just a couple. Yes, was it yesterday? Yesterday. And I sent him a message on Twitter today. I'm like, bro, trying to get a hold of you. You said this was the email.
Right.
I'm trying to get him on for a whole episode. Because no, I did not get that. And dude, it really wasn't any time. It was like quick, do a speech. Everybody does the thing. Some people weren't there the whole day and stuff like that. And you kind of just want to like be with your people and experience shit. Plus, this is the thing that I was like kind of saving for the end. I think I told you that I'm no longer an officer in the Libertarian Party of Delaware. Retired from that. So,
thank you for your service, Dave.
You're very welcome, dude. I think I did an okay job, but I might have done the coolest thing at the convention. So check this out. Only one person was running for my position. They knew I wasn't running and this guy was running. He was the same dude that ran. He was our candidate for House of Representatives. Not a strong candidate. I'll say it right now.
Okay.
And I don't care if he sees this. But he wanted to run for Newcastle County chair. And in fact, he kind of sided with the losers a little bit in the beginning. So it's like there's like a little bit of like distrust.
Sure.
And at this point, there's some of that, like George W. Bush, like, fool me once, shame on you. Had some of that going. Because, bro, check this out. He wanted to run for chair. He ran unopposed. And we're all caucusing like outside at the convention, right? And I'm getting into the weeds here a little bit, but
that's fine. So anybody who's
in the LP knows sometimes this stuff can be tedious. There's not a lot of people. 27 total people at the convention.
Mm-hmm.
Part of our biggest problem in the state of Delaware the past couple of years, bro, is that it's the same 5 or 6 people doing all of the heavy lifting. Carter, I mentioned, he just got elected chair. He was one of them. Amy Lepore, who is now...
Let me guess. Carter, Amy, Dylan, Bill, and you.
Bill, bro, is nowhere to be found. No offense.
Oh, really?
But no. Nowhere to be found. Amy, Dylan, for sure. Power couple. And now they're both working with the Mises Caucus. Moved out of Delaware into Maryland. So we will miss them, but they're still local. So we'll hang out. But
ouch.
Yeah, really like, I'm on the top 5, 6. I was, but towards the bottom of that, there were people that, did more. But anyway, one of our suggestions, like on our way out, was like, you don't have to have all of this bureaucracy in each county, especially in Delaware. Like if you have 27 people at your convention, like Carter, for instance, was the treasurer of Newcastle, also the state treasurer. So he kind of has to do like double duty, right? I couldn't get somebody to run for secretary because nobody wants to be the stenographer. You know what I mean? It's just like stupid shit. But, you don't have to do it that way. Like you could just meet and like as a county, you could have reps for the board, but just meet over beers. And you could chat about stuff. And if you ever want to change it, the delegates run shit. It's all the same shit, dude. Yeah. But this one guy, and then I'm sorry, I'm getting into the weeds, but...
No, you're good. I just want to hear about Table 9.
He fought against it so hard. No. So he demanded that we have the bureaucracy, and you have to have somebody for chair. You have to have a vice chair. You have to have a secretary. You have to have blah, blah, blah. And then once we're out there...
Afraid of decentralization tactics, eh?
Well, that's kind of the excuse That they said we were centralizing things.
How is
But
that centralizing things?
Well, that we were trying to do that. That if you like don't have all these things, that it would like take away checks and balances.
Oh,
and
okay,
stuff.
gotcha.
Which is dumb because again, the delegates rule everything. But at the end of the day, dude, he was like, "Oh yeah, like I knew we weren't going to have anybody running for those positions, so I'm just going to like disaffiliate the county party."
Okay.
And that was like right outside, right before we were going to cast the vote for him.
Right.
So Amy was so disappointed, and she like worked harder than anybody. She let him have it, and I was like, it was just like casual and cool. Everybody's like having a good time, and I was like, yo, to like all my people for the last thing that I had to contribute. I was like, yo, I encourage everybody to vote Noda instead of Cody, and he got Noda.
Nice.
and it was cool. Because this is a guy who's like wants to make sure that his like no vote is like recorded on like the dumbest shit.
Sure.
And you should have been cool, man. You should have been cool. Like, why would you do that? It's just like
Joey Two Gun says it's not a fake super chat, but we'll talk about those in a minute. But Joey Two Gun says the LP is the worst. I hate libertarians. Dave, after this weekend, your response?
These are good people. Most of them. Some of them are, again, it all comes back to character. You know, just be cool.
These are good people. Some of them are not, but mostly.
The
tell us
weird
about.
part is, like, dude, I'm so mad at him. He shows up for waffles the next day, and I got to be like, you're such a dick. I just said to you really are like an asshole. But it's like, you're not evil. You're just fucking dumb. And like, yeah, I'm glad I don't have to go to.
I just don't think this job is made for you. If you weren't doing this job, then it'd be all good. So you mentioned Table 9, and some people in the chats want to know about Table 9 as well. So what was Table 9, Dave? You
Mutants
brought it
at
up.
Table 9. I was referring to the Mutants of Table 9, like Vermin Supreme and Joe Exotic. That's where we keep those people. You guys seen that movie, The Wedding Singer?
Are you asking me?
I have not seen that.
Are you asking me, Dave?
Have you not seen The Wedding Singer?
No, Dave. I've not seen any
You
movies
haven't
in my
seen
life. I have never
the
seen a movie.
1996 classic, bro. Oh my gosh.
I've only seen
Guys,
Signs
in
and The
chat.
Matrix 1. Those are the only two movies I've ever seen in my life, and they're the
I can't
best
think
movies.
of another movie that's been on TBS like more times.
I
than
don't.
The Wedding Singer,
I've never had cable, dude. Like, I've never even had a reason to watch TBS.
That's amazing. How about that? Go check that one out.
I sure. So for the party thing, Mike Termont was there, right?
Oh yeah.
Tell us what happened. Anything of note?
He gave a 10-minute speech. Look. Yeah, let me start with the good stuff first. Mike Termont is a nice guy. He brought
Yes,
his
he is.
wife. She seemed like she had a good time. They came to Wheelies. They had waffles, and the vice chair, Dr. Irene Mavrakakis, she just got elected, but she's a good one. She's been on my show, and she's a hard worker in Delaware, and she's brilliant. But I think that she might, like, she's working for his campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, I'll say this. I see how the old guard, like I see how like relationships and things can like warp the vision.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like immediately, like this convention, instead of everybody kind of being on the same page, like all of our people, like kind of factioned out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
This is all cool and natural. In fact, I told her, like, I love her so much. She's so great. All empathy, right? But I don't think she's right about Termont, and I don't think that's the strategy. And I told her I'm going to work really hard to make sure that she's not a delegate in DC. You know what I mean? Like,
that's rough.
So
Politics sucks.
It's kind of weird. Politics does suck. Like she's.
You like both of them as people. It's like, I don't think this is it. So I have to be kind of your enemy in this one thing right now.
It's really, really weird.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to remember, like I'm in this thing because of the philosophy and trying to move, liberty just a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah.
So the friendships like that I got to form with Amy and Dylan Carter, and Irene, it's all like bonus stuff. But like, yeah, when you're doing the thing, you can't like fake the funk because they're your friend.
Right.
It's so.
Yeah, I agree. Don't go along to get along when it comes to politics. You gotta like be a human with people that you know and love, but you gotta disagree when you disagree. Otherwise, what's the point of any of it? Danielle says, Dave, tell him what happened next. Tell him how NCC got a chair. Also, if you have fake super chats, we're we're not allowed to take them because YouTube hates you, and they hate me, and they hate everybody here. Anybody with opinions, they hate you. So drop your fake super chats if you have something to say that you would like us to read. We might make fun of them. Just put fake super chat in all caps and then leave your comment if you think it is one that is worth a read. But Dave, tell him how NCC got a chair and what NCC is. For those that don't know.
Newcastle County. That's the largest county in Delaware of the three. And
It's got 12
Danielle's
people.
there. It's got, dude, we're talking literally like this. These are the numbers that we're working with.
Yeah.
There's a couple thousand registered libertarians, but these are the people that show up. And Danielle was one of the people who showed up with a new camera, by the way. Thanks for taking the pictures. And yeah, so to avoid this like catastrophe where like no one was going to run for chair and we would have just had to, like, it probably would have been dissolved and all this shit. Dude, awful. Ryan Bunting, the murder beam, he stepped up. I think he might have been like half drunk, like at this point. All right, I'll do it. Like he was some guy. I think he was like well on his way out of the party, like just wasn't feeling it. But
And he's like, I guess I'll be a leader in the party instead of leaving the party.
Right? Yeah, he really. I mean, so I think he's gonna be pretty radical, man. Yeah,
That's cool.
It's funny, like, yeah, he might be the only guy in Delaware who's been Facebook banned more than me.
Nice.
Because I
So you know
tried
he's
to tone it
legit.
down. You know he's legit. Yeah, he's got a lot of fire.
Mhm.
And I went like the kind of passive aggressive route, and he just kept it going 100. You know, so
Nice.
yeah, he's steering the ship now, and he moved meetings to wheelies, so that's cool.
Oh, nice.
Collusion.
Yeah, you can have your. I guess it's not waffles anymore. Is it still waffles that you're selling currently? Cool.
Oh,
You have your waffles and your meetings. Are you gonna serve it up for the meetings?
Yeah, I'll probably be cooking if I can. If it's between making money and making, you know,
And raising my hand and
making
shouting.
my vote, yeah, it's all
Yes.
good. I'll stay back in the house. Let me know if you guys need anything.
Rad. Were there any other presidential candidates, any other speakers, or anything that you wanted to chat about?
No, man. Those were the two speakers plus Termont. Termont got 10 minutes. Though I'll say this. This is my critique on Termont, since our party got a little critique from me and shit. He had 10 minutes, which I granted is not a lot, but like he got up and gave like a couple, like he noted some things like, look, this is what's happening, you know, like what he would do if he was president kind of takes.
Yeah.
You know? And that was just like this kind of weird, bizarro world where, I don't know, like offering solutions.
Look around
like,
you.
Here's what I would do when I'm president. This is what I'll do to fix the problem in Ukraine, or like, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Like, ugh, I don't know. I can't really.
Yeah.
But nice guy.
I mean, at this level in the game, I would say anybody who's saying, when I am president, here's what I'll do. It's like, maybe there's a time for that.
Say those words. Right. He didn't literally say that, but that's the like, he's starting from that position
Sure.
when he speaks. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Not with it.
Yeah, if there is a place for that level of discussion, like when I'm president, I'll do this, that comes at about like 10 months to a year from now. Like right now, let's discuss what we can do as a libertarian party.
Even it's like, it's kind of silly when Robert F. Kennedy says it.
Sure.
But that guy's polling at like 15%
in
his party.
I mean, honestly, as brash and as much as everybody hates him, the only person I think who has the right and privilege to speak about when they become president, obviously, is Joe Exotic. You thought I was going to say Donald Trump, didn't you? Yeah.
We're going to talk about this guy just perpetually.
That's right. For the
Dear
next
God.
18 months. Get used to it. Buckle up. Now, was there? So you got none of the interviews, none of that stuff.
There's no interviews.
Okay.
Nope.
I mean,
Check.
frankly, I was planning on editing whatever you got, so I'm not that disappointed because I don't really have time, but I was going to make it work. Now with all the stuff that went on, you discussed a little bit of drama with the one dude. Did the rest of the business meeting flow pretty smoothly, or did you get the results that you were looking for?
Yeah, I'm excited for the new, I mean, like, just, you know, some good people got elected to the board, and I don't have to be on it. Ryan was really probably like my friend Bonnie, I think she's one of the people who's like, you know, I don't think it's her dream to be on this board, but she's like ready to help. And I think she wants to really see results. And she's been around since disaffected Bernie gal, you know.
Yeah.
So she's learning, and just like we're both on the same page with like marijuana reform. We've been to a town hall or two together, so she's ready to go. I'm pumped about her. Like I said, Carter is like a machine. He's an accountant, so he's great with the numbers and fundraising. We just got my last kind of idea with the party was to get a billboard. We got the funds together for that.
Yeah.
Pretty sure we're going to do a Dan Smott's video, coming in, the coming months. That's exciting.
Nice.
So the party is definitely like in a better position. Like all the website's been redone and everything's rebranded with good logos. And
did any of the
so they're equipped.
The Coosters that formed their new party, how's that party going? Is there any update there? Did any of them show up and try and insurrectionist the thing?
No, none of those guys showed up, but I did read that Will McVeigh was elected to the executive director, which I think is funny because that's like he's got himself in a paid position, kind of like they hate Mike Heiss because he's like just paid and
right.
It's not very democratic and all this shit.
Right.
So I just thought that was kind of funny. But no, I think that, they're doing their thing. Nobody showed up. I did make a comment because I was pretty adamant about getting Carter in for a chair. So he gave me, I was like, dude, if you want me to say anything, for you, I would. And he's like, yeah, that'd be great. Mm-hmm. It's like about 30 seconds or so. I was like, I'm going to need about 2 minutes, but
gonna need more than that.
Yeah, this was like right after the Cody thing, like after he did that. And I was like, yeah, there is a party that split off if you want to go join that. Like I was just kind of like heated up.
So nobody got that on tape? Come on.
I know. I don't know. Dylan might have. He had his camera out, but
yeah, tell him to send it to me if he did. I just want to see it for my own joy.
We were doing some like direct fucking democracy caucusing.
Nice.
Outside. That was definitely the most exciting part of the day for me, but also like he shit on the vibe a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's okay. Like it is a LARP. So like, I will see him in a meeting and I'll just go, ugh. But to be honest with you though, it will probably be like, even when people fuck up, like I said, he was kind of on Will's team when we got here. Mm-hmm. And then when it turned out that we were okay and not Nazis, he was like, okay, yeah, you guys are okay. But he kind of like did some underhanded shit again. So it's like, next time, bro, if I'm still participating, like, yeah, I'll remind people that you got fucking noted at the 2023 convention and you shouldn't be entrusted to do shit, or lead us or represent us in any way.
Absolutely.
No offense, Cody. If you can, if you're watching this, you can still come out and hang out, but I'll
limited
make waffles
hangout.
for you, just like Mike Termott. But
yeah,
yeah, it's limited. It's a limited hangout.
That's right. Any final thoughts, Dave, on the weekend? Anything else that happened of note? If not, we will jump over to Dennis here in a bit.
If you're going to run for any of these things, do one term and then take a chill or move over. Do something different, or you really got to love it and have your shit together. So maybe that's the thing. I'm gonna go do other stuff.
Absolutely. And speaking of people who don't have their shit together, here's a quick word from Jack Casey. Today's show is sponsored by libertarian conspiratorial fantasy author Jack Casey. Whether you're looking for a 3-book fantasy sci-fi epic of love, death, and dystopian civil war like the Royal Green series, or just looking for a quick, dark, comedic, cultural commentary tale about a transsexual slayer of COVID regime vampires, like his latest book, WVW, Jack Casey Books will keep you adequately entertained and pondering the universe to your weird little heart's content. He's the Ayn Rand meets Stephanie Meyer meets somebody who actually writes entertaining books with his own unique little downer-esque flair. Find out more about Jack Casey Books at the aptly named jackcaseybooks.com. Once again, that is jackcaseybooks.com. And we are back, and we do have another very special guest today. It is Dennis Pratt, the director of PorcFest, and I'm gone. Dennis, how are you, sir? Oh, you're muted. 1 second. I think I'm muted.
Marshall, that's great.
Hey, you're on now. What were you saying?
Oh, you can't hear me?
I can hear you now. I had you muted. Sorry. Oh. How you doing, Dennis?
I said I love the commercial. Absolutely fantastic commercial.
Thank you, Dennis.
I thought you said that you couldn't do a talk at PorcFest.
I never said I couldn't do a talk at PorcFest. I said I could do a talk at PorcFest. I said I will happily do a talk at PorcFest.
He'll talk your face off. He's ready.
Yeah. I said if you don't have room for me to do a talk, that's fine, because I probably shouldn't, because it's going to be a lot of things that I have to figure out between now and then. But if you do have room, I will absolutely do a talk at PorcFest. Yeah. It's not that big deal. It's going to be fun either way. Dennis, you've been the director of PorcFest for, what is it, going on, this will be your third year or fourth year?
So this is my third year of the lead. This is my fifth year volunteering. So it's my last. Also, next year I'm actually just going to create a hub and on ethics and sit back and have fun talking and doing debates and being really nerdy, which is kind of my preference.
Yeah, I can imagine it's a lot. Just getting out to PorcFest and arranging things with people is like herding cats just on my end, let alone on your end where you're dealing with everybody in the entire thing. Like, my first and most obvious question is, how is that even possible?
Yeah, when I first started, what I did was I went around. I just moved to the Free State, and I was so excited. And so I said, well, who's doing what? So I went out and investigated, all the different groups. There's hundreds of groups out here. We have thousands of libertarians, and they're broken up into hundreds of different groups. And so I would go around and just say, oh, you're doing this. That sounds really interesting. Why don't you share that at PorcFest?
Mm-hmm.
And so we actually had one of the highest proportion of porcupine events. Usually we had more Reason and Cato and that type of thing, and people absolutely loved it. Our porcupines loved it. The people who came out to visit us for PorcFest loved it, and that's really what kind of got me on started. It was on my own curiosity about all the stuff that people are doing here. And what I find is that if you can get people to talk about themselves and tell you the cool stuff that they're doing, and to recruit you for helping them out on whatever liberty it is that they want to build, they tend to go along. So they'll say, yeah, I'll do that. And I have this bad habit of holding people to account when they say yes.
Sure.
So
Libertarians need more of that.
And then we had COVID, which was just a gigantic thing. We were the only Liberty Festival to go that year.
Yeah.
And we had it caused such a rift in our group, because we had people who were very scared of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, they couldn't allow others to go despite their fear. And so we had all this busybodiness of people telling other people they couldn't go. And it
was a super spreader event.
Rift.
Pete Q got it.
And it was, it was a super spreader event.
I mean, they should be happy. As far as I know, only Pete Q got it, and he's like one of their biggest enemies. So, they should probably be happy that we did it.
Well, I think that was the next year you're talking about.
I could be wrong.
Our year actually had nothing.
Okay.
I think the first year that was really tough.
Okay. And, I think I missed first COVID year, and then I was back after that.
We had sold 1,100 tickets, but we only had about 800 actually go through the gate. I was going through cancer treatments. I just come out, and so I actually you got to wear like these different bands depending on how much contact you wanted, and my wife had basically said that I wasn't going, and they wanted me to run it that year, and I was like, I think I'm just going to be too exhausted. I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they were doing it. You go, damn, they're doing it. I'm going.
Yep.
So I put on my little thing, said, hey, I'm not going to hug you. I'm a type of huggy guy, and by third day I was fuck it.
Yeah. Hugging everybody. Yeah. It's hard to go. It's hard to go all of PorcFest without contact, because there's a lot of touchy feely people out there at PorcFest. You know how they get.
It's also outdoors, so it's almost all outdoors. One of the hubs I run is indoors. It's the only really indoors place. We do have a number that are large tents that people set up.
Mm-hmm.
And those could be considered indoors, especially if they close up the sides and fishbowl or whatever they do in there.
Right. Yeah. We don't need to talk about COVID. Fuck that time. But in that time, you said it was about 800, which is kind of a low. But when you started doing the directing, seems like things really started picking up in the numbers. What has the growth been like since you took over?
Yeah, so our typical PorcFest was around 1,200. Our peak had been 15. And so the year after COVID, I was lead, and I didn't tell anyone, but I had this goal of, I'm gonna hit 15. I'm gonna tie the record, and I'll get 15:01. I'll hold the record.
I remember having that conversation
And
with you at the time. I was pretty stoked for you.
yeah, and I was very excited about it. And so I also just kind of said, I think that my background is the design of new products and emerging industries. So that's my education from MIT. That was I did research in that as working in an incubator. I've consulted all over the country with emerging industries. So how do you design a new product? So I just used those techniques, and I said, we're kind of targeting the wrong people here. What we want are people who are really serious about liberty. I mean, they're so serious about liberty, they might actually consider picking up their lives and moving to a different state where they're working with thousands and thousands of other libertarians and building liberty for real and creating the first ever liberty homeland. So, I mean, who are those people? Well, they're not the people that we were advertising to. We were going to the Cato and Reason guys who, they're fine with arguing 32% versus 28% marginal tax rate. Oh, yeah. And it's just like, if that's really your core issue, you're not going to migrate.
Yeah.
So I did a big wrenching, a kind of a resegmentation, hit hard the kind of the core groups, the really tough groups. Mises Caucus was big for the secessionists and freedom cells and people like that who were, they're serious enough that they're actually rolling up their sleeves and causing some perturbation in the authoritarian world, as opposed to just talking about it. So all of a sudden, well, first of all, it was, I made all these other changes to the design to kind of design around that concept of how do we attract those people. But it was changing everything, and everyone was really upset. And they said, "Well, why? You're changing everything. It's just too radical." And I tendered my resignation 3 times. The third time they were just going to accept it, but that was in end of I think it was the end of February, and my February numbers came in, and they were May numbers. And then people said, "Oh, wait, okay, hold on a second. What do we have here?"
Right.
And so by the end of April or something like that, I kind of took my foot off the accelerator, and we shot past 1,500 ticket sales, and people started saying, "Well, how many people can we have at this festival?" And we had never ever thought that we could fill out. The
Right.
campground would be half full, less than half full, just and then people would be in hotels.
I never knew how big the
that. But now
campground was
we were
until the last couple of years. Like, I didn't even realize the campground went out as far as it did until it was packed last year and the year before. So
Right. Yeah. And so, and I told people, hey, you better get your sites because we're selling out the campgrounds. People go, "Oh, we'll never sell out the campgrounds. What are you talking about? That's impossible." And, we sold out the campground. And then I said, look, we're going to have to set some sort of number. I don't know what that number is.
Yeah.
But it's not based on our desire. Our desire would be, if you're a base libertarian, come to PorcFest. I don't care what the number is. That's our desire. We want those people, the people who are really serious about liberty, who aren't going to, they're tired of talking about liberty. They actually want to build it for real. That's what we want. But the trouble is that it's a campground, and we got to worry about sewer. We got to worry about water. We got, there's like real life things that we're worried about, but we had never tested the thing.
Right.
So, we set an arbitrary limit. 3 years ago, we hit it. So we were sold out for the first time ever. We struggled that year because we ran out of water often.
Yep, I remember.
And last year we did a little bit better. We upped it a little bit. This year we're going to have a higher attendance.
Is the water situation resolved?
Well,
we'll see.
It's well water. So if we don't have rain, we have trouble with water.
Sure.
And if people aren't good about it, so I mean, one of the things we do is we lock up the bathrooms and ask people to use the porta potties during the nighttime, because if somebody leaves the shower on, we won't be there to turn it off.
Right.
And you can whine until you're blue in the face, but some preteen leaves it on, and and then all the well's gone.
Right.
What are you gonna do?
Absolutely. Now, there's a lot of big plans for this year, and we've already got a few people in the chats that are bringing up the drama. We'll get to the drama, ladies and gents that are ladies. We'll get to it. Chill. But before, what are some of the main attractions, some of the biggest reasons for people to come out and see the festival this year?
So I think the biggest thing I have to say is that it's not seeing the festival. This is a simulation of a Liberty Village. So the biggest thing is experiencing what it might actually be like living in a libertarian society, living with people who do not threaten you with violence, living with people who would not conceive of hiring some proxy through some voting process to threaten you with violence in order to impose their will on you.
Yeah.
So, so being in that environment and being in that environment full time, where all conversations start here, in the authoritarian 49 where you all live, conversations start, way down here for the most part. And here you're just starting right here. And then, we have so many thousands of libertarians just in New Hampshire who have already moved or who have decloaked once they saw, oh my goodness, I'm actually more like these people who are moving in. So, the native Free Staters are absolutely fantastic. So we have so many of them, and we've broken them up into so many different types of groups that it's kind of a way of you kind of saying, oh, these are generally my people, and I'm kind of still unique. So which of these groups am I closest to?
Right.
This one or that one?
Yeah, I'll say I wandered into. I found a flat Earth group at PorcFest last year or the year before, and I love that shit. It was so great to just walk into a tent and be like, "Hey, I understand you. Let's chat." For like you said, the conversation starting way up here in this crazy realm that it's like, "Hey, we don't need to talk about what is libertarianism. We can start at the craziest shit." And just being able to find people that you can have those conversations. I'm not one for small talk. If I'm gonna have a conversation, we're getting in deep as quickly as possible. So it's great for that you don't have to. Nobody's if you said taxation is theft, nobody would not know what that means.
Yeah, so it's not going to see things; it's going to experiencing things. Now that being said, we'll have literally 1,000 events at PorcFest.
Yeah.
Because anyone can come and create an event. So if you wanted to come and create an event on about flat Earth, you create one, and you put it on your campsite, and we'll advertise it on the PorcFest thing. And it's not like it represents the Free State Project. It's just
it was not at the pavilion, which I'm disappointed about. Maybe next year.
Well, we'll talk about that. Because my rule is if you give me something that's exciting to enough people, that there's a large enough segment that you cannot host it on your hub. So we have 100 different hubs all across the campground. We'll have more than 100. We're actually over 100 now. My projection was 100. Last year we had 70. I projected that we'd be more than that. We're already at 100, which was my projection for this year. So I'm right now projecting about 110, 115 different hubs of activity. So it might be a Christian hub, or it might be the FSB hub, or it might be the Libertarian Party will have a hub, or Free Domain will have a hub.
Or a drag queen story hour. So just kidding. I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry. Go ahead.
We don't care. We don't care. It's whatever the people want to offer. They can offer, and then it shows it. People will pick and choose. It's kind of like libertarianism, where you have a marketplace, and people can offer things, and if there's a lot of flat earthers,
there's not.
Frankly, if
there's not.
Well,
it's me and Jack Casey.
Let's say that you actually got Jack Casey to speak, and everyone said, "Oh my God, did you hear that Jack Casey of the Flat Earthers is coming?" to speak at PorcFest. And now all of a sudden everyone's like, oh my God, I've got to see
Clip
Jack
that out,
Casey.
Jack.
And you have this event at your hub, okay? And your hub can fit 30, 40 people. Well, and you can show me that you have like 100, 200 people who are going to be coming to see Jack Casey talk about the flat Earth. Well, I'm going to put it in the pavilion because that's in the old days, the pavilion was all kind of top down, right?
Yeah.
And so the pavilion was the expression of the wise people of
the celebrities.
FSP. Well, FSP is a bunch, 5 people on the board and 2 paid employees. That's what FSP is. The Free State Movement is thousands and thousands of libertarians, really base libertarians, creating all these hundreds and hundreds of groups.
Mm-hmm.
So what speaks for the Free State Movement? And that's really what I'm going more towards, is what the Free State Movement. So if you actually showed me that the Free State, that there were, a couple hundred people who were really interested in Jack talking about flat Earth.
Nobody wants to hear Jack talk about flat Earth. Let's stop with that hypothetical right now.
I'm just saying it doesn't matter.
I get you.
It's kind of a supply and demand thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's luckily libertarians are economists, and they understand that we're all unique and we're all different. They understand that maybe their preferences aren't something that other people share, everyone else shares. They understand that they can live in a world in which people have different preferences, and so therefore they actually allow different preferences for different segments, or do they?
Yeah, I think it's great. And what you're describing, it has been my experience, because I've been going to PorcFest for quite a few years. Like I said, I took off the first COVID year, but Lions of Liberty brought me out when it was back under Roger Paxton's directing and all that, and went a couple years there, and then you came in, and we've been working closely together pretty much ever since, every year. And it's been great, but what you're describing with the pavilion versus the culture, I do think the culture, and this has been my thing ever since like my second year. I'm like, oh, the real PorcFest happens out here, outside of the main stage. The main stage is great. They've got great speakers and all that. And I usually swing by the main stage and get some stuff, but there's so much diversity and like thought and expression and everything going on throughout the rest of the festival. But that's really hard to explain to people. So I try to capture it in video. But what a lot of people, people that can't really quite grasp that experience, and they're coming for the celebritarians or celebrities, I guess it would be the case in this year. Who do you got lined up for some of the bigger names?
Well, the Libertarian Institute is coming out. They're doing, they have their own hub. So that's, Scott Horton and his crew, Keith Knight and those folks. They're going to be doing some talks, down in the field area for sure. But if you really want the Libertarian Institute experience, go to the Libertarian Institute hub. Mm-hmm. And, each day they're going to, Scott will be talking about one of his books each day, and they'll be talking about different conflicts, and, and you'll have intimate talks and stuff like that. But, there is PorcFest is not a libertarian convention. So everybody who goes to libertarian conventions, they go, oh, well, I know what PorcFest is.
Right.
It's not that.
Yeah.
This
absolutely.
is you actually interacting in intimate groups all around the place. But anyway, AIER is out there. So, a whole bunch of economics, Soho Forum. They're leading a number of debates that will be actually one of my favorite.
Jeremy Kaufman and Matt Kibbe. I saw that one earlier today.
Kaufman and Matt Kibbe. Yes. So the
That's
big
cool.
debate is whether conversion works, right?
Mm-hmm.
So most of us.
You got to say what the
not,
actual description of the
I
debate
will
is.
just get there. I'm going to get there.
Because it's great.
The question is whether conversion is possible, right? Conversion to libertarianism is possible, or whether we have somehow, genetically inside of us, something that allows a few of us to accept this. And the rest of us, you can argue until you're blue in the face, and they'll never get it. They might agree with you on one policy issue, and then you'll find out that they voted against it anyway at some point.
Yeah.
This whole libertarian to alt-right was, the argument is that that's not really, they didn't convert to libertarianism. They just didn't have it in them. So the debate topic is it harder to convert to someone, an authoritarian to libertarianism, than a heterosexual to homosexuality? So Jeremy Kauffman is taking that it's easier to convert someone to homosexuality than it is to convert libertarianism.
I'll be there for that.
is taking the opposite. Now, Jeremy has a lot of personal experience in this, so I would think that he should know whether converting someone to homosexuality versus libertarianism
That's true.
is easier or harder. So I don't know why Kibbe would even dare take this topic.
I mean, Jeremy Kauffman based a lot of his campaign around, gay things. But so God bless you for being so, I guess decentralized minded that you haven't even mentioned Tulsi Gabbard or Robert F. Kennedy Jr. or anybody like that so far. But that's great. Like that's not the first thing on your mind, that we got these big gets, because those are very big gets, and kudos to you for getting them.
Yeah, but see, that's the whole thing. The whole Jack Casey example. You come to me with something that you're showing me. Hey, I got a lot of people very excited about this. They're gonna. I can't put it in a hub. I can't put it in a hub in the campground. You've got space in this larger space. Can we put it there? I've got to convince myself that it's going to be on a libertarian topic. I had to talk to Tulsi. So we have a number of people who are not libertarian coming. Larry Elder, Vivek, Tulsi, RFK Jr. Who else?
These are pretty big heavy hitters right now outside of the libertarian sphere, which is awesome to bring them in and kind of show them around with the craziest of us.
Well, actually, it's a sign of the power of the libertarian movement in New Hampshire. Mm-hmm. I mean, there isn't a libertarian movement in the rest of the country that matters that much. Yeah. But in New Hampshire, which happens to be a primary state, we are a significant portion of the population, and not really in numbers, but certainly in energy. And because the people who are coming here are the most goddamn serious people there are. These are not weenies who come here. Everyone gets all upset with our LPNH Twitter account. And I go, you have no idea. You just don't understand what it is that we're doing here. In order to be in the LPNH, you could think of our entire liberty organization of hundreds different groups. That's the Libertarian Party, right? Our political arm would be the Liberty Republicans, right? Those are the people who are actually getting in. We have ANCAPs sitting in the House passing laws. Mm-hmm. So this whole idea of, well, how are we going to get this dog catcher in? Oh my goodness, no one's. Oh man, we're so far past that. But then if you're in the LPNH, you're going to be at the tip of the spear, the very tip of the spear. So people get all upset. They go, well, look at these libertarians in New Hampshire. I go, no, come on. We got hundreds of groups. You're looking at one group. They're awfully good at what they do. I tell you,
Sure.
I love their stuff. But you're looking at one group. There's hundreds of groups here.
Right.
So, if you don't fit in there, you can fit in all these other groups.
And a lot of them don't like the LPNH Twitter account. Like some of the groups certainly don't like the LPNH Twitter account too. Like there's a lot of different rooms of thought that in people that are still willing to associate with each other, it seems like.
Oh, sure. I mean, so outside the country, we hit libertarian things really hard because we can. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're not worried about getting votes or converting people. That's not what we do. The LPNH does not do that within New Hampshire. We have other groups that do those types of things, and they do them very well. They get into office, and that's not our job. Our job is to hold out the banner for strong libertarianism. And that's what we do. We do that better than I think anyone. And so therefore we can say, that child labor laws should be removed.
Mhm.
And you can have LP presidential candidates come. Oh, we don't believe that. Oh my goodness. Oh, let's hide. We don't want people to be scared about us. In New Hampshire, we don't care.
Mhm.
This is a concentration strategy. We're not converting people. So what we want is authoritarians to leave, right? Authoritarians go, boy, I tell you, I really like New York State because they have a lot of laws there. Or, boy, Massachusetts, they don't allow you to have guns there. Boy, that's a great place for me to move to. And then we want also at the same time to signal the most base libertarians in the country or in the world. You should see some of the foreign people who get over here. They are so much more serious than their American counterparts.
Mhm.
Because they've moved halfway around the world.
Yeah, they've got a lot more to lose,
and build liberty.
right?
Yeah, and they hate it when we compromise. They hate it when it would be the political class doing that, and but we want them to say, oh my goodness, if I really believed in libertarianism, I think I should be in New Hampshire. Now, if you come to New Hampshire, it took me 3 tries to find out where I kind of sat, which group I kind of sat with. I got it wrong just because there's just so many different groups. When you're in the authoritarian 49 and you meet a libertarian, it's like, oh my God, thank God. Here there's libertarians all over the place. And so now we're actually, we have some libertarians who are more big tent, live and let live type stuff. But we also have libertarians who are very siloed. And so, let me just show you here. Ooh,
Beautiful.
So across, that's an inlet. So I have a 7-foot tidal surge every day. But across there is a libertarian community clubhouse. And that libertarian community clubhouse is a siloed clubhouse. It's only for professionals, families with small children, very closed, not now ANCAP. They're pretty strong ANCAP, but they are a siloed group. It's hard to get in. They're not particularly welcoming. I actually, fought my way in and joined, but I'm more of a big tent. Hey, let's welcome even Dan Smots to this place.
Amen.
And they would go, wait, you want Dan? So,
yeah, I've made some bad choices in life.
Well, I'm not even bothering to talk about Jack. So,
Jack is loving this episode, by the way. I guarantee it.
So I started another clubhouse over here, and it's 15 minutes away. Okay. I can swim to this one. The other one I have to drive to. But it's like this open, welcoming, the Shell. I don't know if you've been there, but it's the Shell, which stands for Seacoast Harbors Every Liberty Lover. And we it's become kind of this place where, if you really like that welcoming spirit, that, if you were Hawaiian, it would be aloha spirit. You would join the Shell. And if you really kind of go, boy, I don't want to be around those libertines, I strong work at, you would go and join this other group. And then we have another Liberty Clubhouse, which is about 40 minutes away from me. I was a member of that until just this last month, as a matter of fact. I've been 5 years a member. But I just don't go there. I'm doing so many things. It's just PorcFest by itself. Sure. But it's more of a kind of a speakeasy type, feel. It was an early libertarian clubhouse. At the Shell, we have open things. We bring in communists for debates, or establishment conservatives for debates, and we welcome the people outside. They don't really come because they're still kind of nervous and stuff. But right. They do. We have a lot of meetings. This place is like, it's got the little latches that you open up and who's there, what's the password? Yeah.
I'd like it. Yeah, that's my type. That's my type of community.
So whatever you want to have, you have it, or just create it. Right? It's like a Lego box. It's like PorcFest.
Jack
Right?
Casey
At
says, "I'm
PorcFest, what I
picturing
did-
I'm picturing a treehouse fort for some reason when you say clubhouse, which I don't know. I mean, it's possible with libertarians.
You could go up there. See those trees.
No,
there.
I've been to I think the Shell and the Quill. I believe I've been to both of them over the last few years. You guys have some really cool hangout spots for sure. Which I mean, here in the middle of a cornfield in Illinois, we're certainly lacking places to even locate libertarians, let alone hangouts for libertarians. So it's very cool.
Well, you don't have the numbers. What do you do? Right? You are surrounded by an overwhelming number of authoritarians, and they don't give a damn about you, and you don't matter to them, and so you're just screaming into the wind. I spent 35 years like that, and I'm thankful every day I wake up in New Hampshire, and then my life actually has, whatever I have left, I'm actually doing something with it that I feel is really advancing liberty.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy with my choice. But yeah, I mean, why would you create a Liberty Clubhouse whom are you going to invite? Your
Nobody.
grandmother?
They're all dead.
Your sister-in-law? I mean,
No.
come on. Libertarianism is a low incidence event. It's a very hard thing for people to change into. And when they finally do, they see this beauty and they try immediately to convince everybody. Do you not see this beautiful way that we can live together consensually, voluntarily, win-win, in peace? Isn't this fantastic? And people, no, I don't care. I don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
Believe them. Just don't spend 3 decades doing that. Instead, come with the people.
Oh, I don't.
Do see
I just travel a lot.
Yeah, well, you should be moving here.
Yeah.
You know it.
Yeah, there's some complications there. But we do have to talk about, certainly, the drama as people are waiting for. But before we do that, Dave, you've been pretty quiet over there. Do you have any questions, comments, concerns so far?
No, I mean, I can't. I'm not going to be able to go this year, but I can't wait to go to PorcFest. I have some. Would you consider? So you're a free state supremacist. Like that's the way to do it. If you're participating in the LP, it's like I've met some of those guys. Like, are you wasting your time if you're doing other liberty ventures other than the Free State Project? Is that?
Well, if you're doing something that actually introduces them to the Free State Project and getting them to move here, no, you're doing God's work. But if you're doing something where you think that you're going to convert your town to libertarianism, you're wasting your time. You should be instead trying to convert them to homosexuality. Yeah, at least you have a chance.
I definitely would be on the opposing side of that. I think that. I mean, just real quick. I mean, your motto. I mean, the live free or die state. I mean, like that was, what was the year they put that in? It was like the 1940s, right? So this is kind of like built into the cake of New Hampshire. Is my point.
New Hampshire has always been the lead. As a matter of fact, we beat Lexington for the first revolt against the British. So, Massachusetts always had better historians, but. We're number one.
So, I mean, that was probably a good decision. Like, like the culture was there. And so I'm glad that there's a libertarian hub where there can be like the most amount of based libertarians. It's just, I think that culture.
But giving up on the other 49 states just seems.
Well, yeah, you said the authoritarian 49. For instance, like in Delaware, like our state motto is liberty and independence. And it's got a dude with a hoe and a gun. It's like, that's pretty based. Mm-hmm. And, like,
a
you could
hoe?
probably build off that.
Like
too.
A prostitute?
A hoe.
Nice.
Yeah, he's got this bitch in one arm, dog. He's got his fucking gat in the other one. He's like, this is the first state, motherfucker. No, I just mean that like the
is
the
Hunter
Bill of Rights,
Biden the guy?
The Constitution. This is kind of built into the cake of the country. You could probably tap into that. It's not so far gone, a couple generations maybe, but I kind of reject the idea that one, we need a libertarian centralized homeland where all the libertarians go, and that that we should give up on the authoritarian 49 and all congregate up there. I just think it's almost like if I'm just giving all my critiques at once, and I think, bro, you're awesome, and you could probably sell me on anything. So, but I do think that I don't know, like you guys definitely have the most base culture. You got all the libertarians up there, but like we have meetings in Delaware, literal old corporate disgusting Delaware, where there's 30 people come out, maybe 25 come out to whatever, do some liberty shit in this cesspool. So I'm just saying, like, you can I'm not trying to convince everybody, but it's like you could probably tell some boomer to remind him about the Bill of Rights. It's like boom, it's like that might tap into something. We still kind of have that, right? It's like I don't know if I'm ready to retreat.
Well, I mean,
it's almost
if you know how to do it, I've been in this for 42 years. I was the #1 writer in libertarianism on Quora. At one time, the New Hampshire held the #1, #2, #3, #5 spots on Quora. We did a lot in terms of converting, but that is a very, very select group. People who are in Quora are, kind of intellectually open and curious. So they're kind of, tell me more about that. You're not talking to the Cardassian class. You're talking to the most. And even there, it's a low success rate over a long period of time. It's an extremely expensive thing. So let me just give you an example. Let's make a recommendation. Let's do the Jack recommendation to the Mormons. Okay, Mormons, don't stay in Utah. Oh my goodness, you just have to give them this Bible and just spread out. And what are you going to have? You're going to have Mormons just basically being isolated. And yeah, you can have a meeting every once a month or once every couple of months of 30 people, Mormons getting together and feel really good about yourselves. But you're totally outnumbered, totally surrounded, totally despaired. No, you're never going to get anywhere, right?
Wait, let me.
Now,
I gotta.
No. Hold on a second. Now,
Right,
let's imagine the Mormons. But let's say that Dan comes in and said, Mormons, you're very few, and it's very hard to convert, these people to Mormon. Is really, why don't you get all the Mormons together in one state? And you could actually make that kind of a Mormon homeland.
Free state is a cult. I think that's what he's saying right now. Like,
well, I mean, or okay, well, let's Jews don't go to Israel.
I'm not knocking cults. I'm trying to start one myself. It's all good.
Don't go to Israel. Spread yourself out. Go as wide as possible. Don't even go. So the Jews and the Mormons actually are better because they actually live in like towns together. Libertarians don't even have that.
Right.
Libertarianism pops up so randomly in the population. So you'll have all these authoritarians, and then you'll get one libertarian popping out, right? And now that person is stuck and isolated and surrounded and thinking that they're crazy. And they're crazy. They're crazy for what? For peace, love, and understanding, right? They're crazy for believing that we should be only interacting consensually. And instead, what if we take all those libertarians, we move them together where they're all congregated, and now you create this one libertarian homeland. Not because we converted everybody, but because we have the numbers, like Mormons in Utah, like the Chinese in Chinatown, like the Amish in Amishtown, like the Jews. And I mean, this is like, this was the basis of the Free State Project thinking was, what happens when there is a low incident group. Now, you may say, oh, I know, Jack knows how to convert everybody. Well, good. Do it. I have no problem with you doing it, my friend. I have seen the best of the best. And their success rate is very slow. It's not that high. Usually what they're doing is they're actually collecting people who kind of believe it.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Well, no, that's cool. But you said we were surrounded, right? So I couldn't help but notice, like, your state is surrounded by some of the most tyrannical states. And, to be honest, like, your state, like, you guys haven't even legalized weed yet. Like, there's you run by there's Democrats all
You got
over
that in
your
Illinois,
state
and that's it.
making
That's all we
laws.
have.
So I've heard the libertarian homeland a couple times. I would like, are you saying like you have it, or are you 100 years away from it, or like what is your, like I don't feel like
Let's be brief because I do want to get back
this-
to PorcFest too. We can debate
Sorry,
This
sorry,
is
sorry.
this is our
but
this is our 20th.
I like this.
This is our 20th PorcFest. This is our
Yeah.
20th PorcFest. That means that we've been here 20 years. We've made incredible advances politically, infrastructure, in agorism, in guns, in homeschooling, in all these different things. Now, you talked about the pot thing. We could talk about that, but there are reasons for where we are, that we haven't actually done a democratic authoritarian solution. We haven't done a Republican authoritarian solution. We're actually trying to do a liberty solution. And we are a large chunk of a major political party, but we don't control anything yet. You know when we control it? When you move. You move here. Guess what we're going to have? We're going to have, that's what.
Sounds
what
like you
happens
guys know
if
how
we
to party.
double our
I do
size?
want to come hang out. I do want to hang out.
I gotta say, my introduction, I never went to a libertarian convention before I went to PorcFest. PorcFest was my first libertarian event ever because Alliance Liberty guys brought me out. So I'm like, oh,
Right.
you guys are some crazy people, and you're down to hang and party and shit. And then I go to some of these conventions, I'm like, y'all just lighten up a bit, be a little bit more like PorcFest. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it
Smoke a
looks
bowl
like
and
a great
chill
time.
a little bit more. Anyway. Again, we can talk about Free State Project. I will happily bring Gene Epstein on to host a debate between you guys about Free State
love
Project someday. But
Thanks
let's
for talking it out with me. Appreciate
I'm trying to
it.
get Gene to move next door to me. I mean, he's living in New York City. New York City.
Uh-huh.
Jesus.
Any state
His
but
wife
that
wants
one.
to move.
to kick off. We got some fake super chats. This is from Breaking the Flaw. Joa says, fake super chat. Why invite RFK when his speech will be no guns allowed? What's he afraid of? I don't know if that's sarcasm or legit because, quite frankly, I would say that sarcastically. What do you think he has to be afraid of, man? I'm a libertarian. I'm as pro-gun as they come. And also, I get it. Of all people that I would give a pass to for no guns allowed speech, it would be a Kennedy. Come on.
Some legit PTSD there, bro. It's just baked in the cake. Yeah, give the
Right.
guy a break.
I mean, he's not even a
Well, I mean-
libertarian, but go ahead, Dennis.
I mean, his belief is actually that the state killed his uncle and killed his father,
Right.
Because they fought the state. So he's been fighting the state, and he's not particularly concerned about us. That's
Right.
not what he's concerned about. He's concerned about the lone gunman.
Right.
Now, look,
Magic bullets.
There was actually one comment that I loved on Twitter. It said, you have to be careful with somebody who is might be a little bit shy around guns. They might have had an issue in their family at some point.
Right.
I thought that was the best understatement. But look,
Just a bit of an issue.
for me as an organizer, I don't give a damn. And I know that other people do care, but they care on both sides. So we have two large segments here. We have a Second Amendment segment, and they say, I should be able to take my gun anywhere I want. Well, that's not true. We're libertarians. You can't take guns onto someone's private property. It says you can't take guns on there. So it's not true that I should be able to take my guns anywhere. I mean, we have 100 hubs. I think almost all of them will be welcoming of guns. There will be parties or something that they're going to ask you to not take a gun to because you may be in a different situation.
Mhm.
But last year there was actually a hub that had no guns there. But anyway, but that's not the issue. We have another segment that's a bunch of politicos, and they God bless them. They are very important to our movement. I'm not a politico. I'm not in either segment here. So what we have is we have two segments fighting through me. And I don't care. You bring me somebody that you're going to have a couple hundred people. And I think RFK is going to, I think
He'll
we're going
pack
to be
it.
bursting
He will
at the
pack it.
seams.
Yes, absolutely.
It's going to be incredible. Now, will they be packing at bursting at the seams if people can't take their guns in?
Yes.
So PorcFest
Yes, it
has
will.
about a
I think.
quarter. Only about a quarter of the people who at PorcFest are packing.
Mhm.
Now they do it openly because they can, and it's a statement, especially the Second Amendment people. The Second Amendment segment is going, look, we have these, this is absolutely fantastic. We have the best gun laws. We go back and forth with Wyoming. I think we're ahead of Wyoming now, just because we nullify federal gun laws now. But we have the best gun laws in the country. And so they want to brag about it. I think that's great. Go ahead and brag about it. But then we also have the politicos, right? The politicos, they go, oh my God, we have all these people who are demanding to come and see us and talk to us and woo us and court us, and to talk about our issues. So, for example, RFK is one of the few people who is pardoning Snowden and Assange. So
Right.
we actually have a one of our bathrooms is called the WikiLeaks. And then I constructed
I take
a
back
path
everything
that
I
goes
said.
across. Across the campground that's called the Silk Road. So we want Lynn Ulbricht to get up there and say, hey, yeah, you're going to be partying them. What about Ross Ulbricht?
Mhm.
We also have the Crypto 6 that was railroaded by government. So anyway, and some people want to do that. It turns out that a lot of the Crypto 6 hate politics so much they would rather die than ask Kennedy or even be in the same room.
Sure.
Even though last year they were all holding these signs, free the Crypto 6, and I kept on asking them, whom are you asking? If you're not asking the one person who actually wants to do it, go
Right.
into the office and wants to do it, whom are you asking?
Right. Who has the key
But,
here if it's not these people? Yeah. Wow.
But anyway, so I understand not supplicating. I understand not wanting to take off your guns. I understand somebody wanting RFK. I understand. So my rule is very simple. I say, show me the attendance. Show me porcupines who really want it. Show me out-of-staters who really want to see it. Show me, and then I'll go ahead and work and see if we can find a libertarian theme. So, with Tulsi, we're doing a libertarian theme, which is her journey out of liberalism, out of believing in the Democratic Party, and breaking with that, losing all of her friends and her associates and her allies, and challenging her family. Now, you tell me, in that audience of libertarians, how many are going to identify with that story emotionally, viscerally, right?
75.
Okay, now we have Larry Elder.
75%.
Larry Elder wanted to come and talk about minimum wage. I go, yeah. I think we can give that talk.
Right.
We don't need you here. But what he's actually going to be doing is he's going to be talking about how what if you actually had a free state? Why you would never want to start government welfare there. What the cost would be if you did start, and what the benefits will be if you actually don't. So we're giving him an opportunity to blue sky a state without government welfare, and he's excited about that. That's that. He always has to talk about, oh, geez, well, the welfare system sucks right now, and
Right.
what we should do is roll back this and roll back
Basic bitch shit.
We're separatists, so we go, hey, this is what you do.
Yeah.
So with RFK, it's about cronyism. He just came out and said, look, the big hit, one of the big hits, there's many big hits, including Second Amendment on RFK. But then one of the big hits against him was his climate position. He just came out and just basically had this great talk. And he said, look, if we do government control of climate change things, all we're going to get is cronyism. It's going to be like COVID.
Right.
And I'm like, listening to him go, damn, someone's been talking to this man. So he's going to talk about how cronyism will always poison the political process, and how it took over and demonstrated by the COVID regime, by endless war, and by climate change. Now, is that a good talk? To me, yeah, that's a damn good libertarian talk. Do we have a lot of people? I check. We have a darn load of people who want to go to that. And without their guns, okay, you have to go through a magnometer. Is that a problem for you? No, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
So, okay, great. So then we have this other group that says, well, I ought to be able to go with my gun. I go, well, that's not what that episode is. That's not what that event is. So,
Right.
Now it just so happens that event is happening in this pavilion. There's another pavilion right next door where we're doing, where we're doing a Second Amendment and where to shoot in New Hampshire and gun etiquette. Okay, so that's there.
Mhm.
Okay, on the other side at a very large tent, Maj Touré talking about arming black urban and what the importance is there. Guns are really welcome there. And then in the field in front of the place, we have like this big show and tell. Show us your kit. So everyone's coming down with their guns and their
So RFK's
going
gonna be surrounded by guns for the entire speech, but just not in the building. Yes.
So it's like okay, look, you think that guns are really important. Great. There's one event out of literally 1,000.
Right.
Literally 1,000. So you know what the percentage of that is? 99.9%. One out of 1,000. It's for these people. For these people who are they're political. They're way more political than they are gun rights. They're not like I have to have my gun every single place. For those people, I have 3 events right outside the door, and then you just go up the hill. You go up the hill to the other 99 plus hubs, and every single one of them will have different things, and who knows what will be there. I didn't count the number of pro-gun talks there will be. There really aren't any anti-gun talks there.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so that's the thing. There's people will argue we shouldn't have them because this, and we should have them because that, and blah blah blah. And I don't care if you have a segment that is a libertarian segment here in the homeland. Remember I said there's 100 different groups here in the libertarian movement, and they're all doing different types of things. And a lot of times this group is doing something, and this group doesn't like what they're doing. Tough.
Right.
That's what we're doing. It is a bottom-up surge. And so they say, well, because it's in the pavilion, it reflects on the FSP. I go, no, it doesn't reflect on the FSP. This isn't about the FSP. It's about the FSM, the Free State Movement. Yeah. It is about you. Now,
really, if you're bringing in like these big names like that aren't libertarians, even like they're running on the Democratic Party, it's great. Like we've got the most libertarian Democratic candidate right now, and like a pretty libertarian Republican in Tulsi Gabbard and Larry Elder and some of these people. It's like you're going to bring them in and then complain just about this one thing that you're not required to go to. It's like a 45-minute speech, and really all that matters is that we're getting these people in a room that is surrounded by like the most extreme libertarians who can ask them questions. I assume they're doing Q&As and stuff like that. So like that is what I'm most excited about, hearing how they answer our direct questions to them.
Yeah, he's driving 2.5 hours to come to us.
Yeah,
he's a guest. He's a guest, and I told him, you're nice to our guests. Otherwise